What's going on, guys? It's your boy Andy Matrix, and Final Fantasy 16 was absolutely awesome. In my opinion, I think it was a success. It had a wonderful story, amazing gameplay. It brought something new to the Final Fantasy franchise. We got to see, basically a one-player, more action-based Final Fantasy game with a great story, an amazing lead, and it was great. I had a great time with Final Fantasy 16, and it looks like we already have some details about Final Fantasy 17. Now, this is coming from the producer of Final Fantasy 16, which is Naoki Yoshida. Right? We got some details on it. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell for future notifications. I talk about anime, manga, video games, geek culture, Japanese culture. If you're into any of that stuff, make sure to subscribe, baby. Now with the show. Okay, so I actually found this in Gamers Radar, right? Gamers Radar. And Naoki Yoshida, gave us a little scoop into Final Fantasy 17. Of course, they're already planning it. And I don't know how long they've been planning it for, but, I'm pretty sure that they've been working on it for a couple of years, since they approached the conclusion of Final Fantasy 16. So here's some details from the Gamers Radar, right? So this is coming from Naoki Yoshida. And he says, I fully understand the appeal that the potential that there is for turn-based or command-based games. I still think that Square Enix will have the opportunity to create something like that. I personally would say that if you're going to create something like that, maybe have the graphics fit that system better by maybe going towards a more pixel graphic type of direction, right? So basically, he's saying that Final Fantasy 16 was great. It was more action-based, but a lot of people still want a turn-based. They want to go back to that turn-based. I'm not really interested in going back on the turn-based. Like, if it has the active time bar where, like, you have to wait for the bar to fill up for you to attack, I'm not really into that. I prefer more like the Final Fantasy X turn-based, where, like, you don't have to wait. It's just, it's really by turns. And you could just, attack once it's your turn. You don't have to wait for your bar to fill up or anything like that. He then goes on to say, but does that mean that, okay, Final Fantasy 17 pixel graphics is confirmed? I don't know about that, he laughs. Because once you've taken the graphics this far in Final Fantasy 16, if you decide to go back to pixel graphics, then people are going to be like, hey, what are you doing? Why are you going back to pixel? I'm sure he's joking. He's absolutely joking here. And then he says, well, Yoshida's certainly joking about the pixel art of Final Fantasy 17. It's more likely than it might once have been. Earlier this year, word got around that Square Enix boss Yoshiki Matsuda wants more games to be HD 2D style that powers Octopath Traveler Triangle Strategy. And in the upcoming Live Alive remake, fitting that style around a brand new number entry in the Final Fantasy series could be a harder to sell, though. Well, I mean, the reason why that's a good idea, the reason why the president wants that type of game is because it's because of the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch has so many users, and although the graphics are really not that great, it doesn't really matter because it has such a large user base of 140 million Nintendo Switch users. They could make one Final Fantasy game, one standalone Final Fantasy game for the Nintendo Switch, and guess what? It'll boom. It is going to boom on the Nintendo Switch. It will easily get 3 million, 4 million, 5 million sales on the Switch. So think about that, because Triangle Strategy, Octopath Traveler, all of those, they sell in the millions, and those games are actually easier to make, quicker to make, and much simpler. But they're also very, very fun because the Nintendo Switch, it's a fun device and it doesn't really focus on graphics. Then it goes to say, more seriously, Yoshida knows that this isn't about right or wrong. It comes down to preference, and then, we like to look at it as that's why each of the Final Fantasy games is something different. This time we're going to go into that direction, but the next time we're going to go in that direction. You're going to have a different direction, and you're going to have a different war. You're going to have a different battle system, of course. Hopefully, it's not like Final Fantasy VIII, with the drawing system. I did not like that whatsoever. A near complete reboot for each number Final Fantasy has been the way of the series since the first sequel. And as Yoshida knows, that means you're getting a different thing for a lot of different players, because like I said before, there are a lot of different players and not everyone agrees on what should be a Final Fantasy game. So you can't put everything together. You just have to keep creating different things until you cover everything. And he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. Every Final Fantasy is going to be different. Most likely the next Final Fantasy 17, is not going to be, an action-based RPG, right? It's not going to be like God of War, Devil May Cry. It's going to be, maybe it will go back to turn-based because so many people have been asking for it, right? We shall see. And personally, one of the things that I've been imagining, like I really want a prehistoric Final Fantasy. Imagine that. A prehistoric Final Fantasy game. And I already know how they can use the summons. Like depending on where you travel, the summons can be like, you can like summon them with some types of crystals. Like when you go to an ice area, like a very snowy area, a desert area. Man, that would be so freaking cool. A prehistoric Final Fantasy, with the cavemans and things like that. Whatever your thoughts are, comment below, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for future notifications. It's your boy, The Matrix. Godspeed, baby.